How did you end up working on Reservoir Dogs? Did you know Quentin before that, or
I knew Harvey Keitel because I had done Thelma and Louise with him, and my scenes with him in that movie got cut out. I had a couple. You remember, I'm in the diner with Susan Sarandon, and I say to her that I'm not going to tell anybody where they are. And so, in fact, when I get back home, I get arrested, and they bring me in the precinct, and Harvey wants me to tell him where they are, and I say, no, I'm not going to tell you nothing. And it was really cool because we made up a lot of it, you know, and I had a cigarette, and I was flicking the ashes on the floor, and I finally just put it right down. I flicked it down, and Harvey climbed up over the top of the desk, man, and he was going to choke me out, you know. And you know, you see Harvey coming at you, it's a little disturbing. And we just had such a fun time working on it. It was such a great working relationship that when the film came out and my scenes with him were deleted from the film, you know, I was always kind of a little, you know, it didn't make me very happy. And when I heard about Reservoir Dogs, I got the script and I read the script and I thought it was really interesting. And my agent told me that it was about a bunch of guys that kill each other. And I said, well, who's in the damn thing? And they said Harvey Keitel is attached as Mr. White. And so I was so wanting to work with him again that I wanted to play Mr. Pink because he had all these great scenes with Harvey, you know. And I really didn't. And they said, no, they really want you for Mr. Blonde, and that's the end of it. And I said, no, well, I ain't gonna do it. You know, I want to be Mr. Pink. And so, and they kept saying, well, why? You know, I said, well, because, you know, he's got more dialogue and he gets away at the end, you know. I don't want to cut this poor guy's ear off and then I get shot and killed. They said, wow, my God, you know, I want to escape with the diamonds. And so I was the last one cast in the movie because I held out to the very end and I didn't want to have it. I just kept begging them. And finally, when I finally met Quentin, I went in and I read for Mr. Pink. I already had the role of Mr. Blonde. It was offered to me, we want you to do this part. And I said, no, I want to play Mr. Pink and I'm going to show you why. And so they said, okay, goddamn it, Michael, come in and whatever. So I came in and I read Mr. Pink stuff for Quentin. And Harvey was there, and it was really funny because they let me do it, you know. And then I was finished, and I was like, okay, right, you know. And Quentin was like, yeah, that was great, Michael. Yeah, that was really good. That was excellent. But yeah, okay. So you're Mr. Blonde, right? You're gonna do Mr. Blonde. And I was like, oh man. I said, okay, my God in heaven. I said, who's Mr. Pink? He goes, I know the guy in New York named Steve Buscemi. And I said, okay, all right then, okay. So I reluctantly, you know, decided to do that. And I, you know, God help me, I should have been smarter, but it was obviously happy that it worked out that way.
It's funny because I was going to ask you if there was a real life jockeying for who was going to be which Mr. What, like there is in the movie.
Everybody wanted to work with Harvey. That's what the bottom line was, you know. It was a cool gangster film and everybody wanted to be cool with Harvey. And, you know, we want to be in this bad guy movie. He was the guy from Mean Streets. And, you know, it was really funny in rehearsal because everybody was just so kind of like, holy shit, man, we're with Harvey Keitel. You know? And everybody was really on their stuff, you know what I mean? And I knew him from Thelma, so I didn't have quite so much trouble as the others, but...
Had you seen True Romance? Did you know who Quentin Tarantino was?
Well, True Romance was after that.
Oh, but he wrote that.
Yeah, he wrote it, and he wrote Natural Born Killers. And he had sold both of those scripts in order to make Reservoir Dogs, because nobody would let the guy make a film. And I actually had True Romance. He gave it to me while we were shooting Dogs. And I took it around to a couple investors, and nobody wanted to have anything to do with it. And everybody thought Quentin was a big idiot, and, you know, it was amazing, really, when you look back now and you realize what happened and how it went. And, you know, I think he sold those things for like $5 or $6 grand a piece, you know. And then everybody tried to copy him, and they never were able to do it, so.
Did he leave you alone? You said the best way for a director to work with.
Yeah, he sure did. He absolutely did. He absolutely did. He left me alone so much that there were times when I was kind of worried that I wasn't doing the right thing. You know, I'd kind of think, oh man, you know, maybe he's disillusioned by me, or maybe I'm not. But he, obviously later on, I realized that he was happy with what I did. So.